And what a way to start things off here. Matthieu, defending champion, of course, against the Italian player. And look at that matchup. What a matchup. Fire versus water.
Oh, yes.
That is literally amazing. And of course, Matthieu would have loved to win the dice roll in this matchup because, I mean, you know that Mermail is such a strong deck going first. You have so many tools to try to get rid of your opponent. And this is a great way to start things off with the Atlantean Dragon being able to search a card, a Sea Serpent, from the deck to the hand.
It's usually not the normal summon you want to see, but it can get you where you want to be, especially when you have to discard, of course, of Atlantean Dragoons for it, making sure that is going to resolve. And I mean, immediately seeing this matchup here, it clearly reminds me of that super insane match we had in the semi-finals of YCS Birmingham, also earlier this year, where Dinkabui, just with like a couple of seconds left, essentially, before going to timeout, then managed to clinch it out in the end. Very sportsmanship behavior from his top 4 opponent there in that match, and in the end it was Fire King winning that tournament, and therefore now I think Matthieu and Dinkabui, they teamed up together for YC's lead and built that new version of Fire King, including those cool new Jurek cards actually. And I mean, for the moment it only says Fire King on the overlay here for Matthieu. I wouldn't be surprised if we do also have the Jurek cards in his deck again though.
Yeah, exactly that. The Jureks have really kind of stepped up the strategy for the Fire Kings. They have just such great synergy. And what it does give, even though Matthieu did not win the dice roll, they have a lot more capabilities to interact with their opponent during their turn. So outside of the normal hand interactions that you'll usually get with Ash Blossom or maybe Drow and Lockbird, you also have that added benefit of being able to utilize a card like the Jureks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You have the ability to disrupt your opponent and try to just get rid of all the bodies and on the field. And this is, of course, very, very strong during the opponent turn because you cannot always try to play around those ones. And the fact that you're able as well to play something like Dominus Impulse is, of course, very, very strong against the Mermail strategy because the Mermail strategy revolves around the ability to just resolve your special summons. And if you cannot resolve those ones, I mean, you might be in a trouble, especially considering the fact that he started with not the best way to start things off. But for now, there is absolutely nothing that Matthieu is playing, so Matteo is pretty fine trying to just get things on the field.
Oh, there is a Minstrel. So we're discarding the Coelacanth, and Matthieu, does he want to chain something? He has to chain Kirin, and Kirin will destroy Olcanix in the hand, so that is good to get things underway. And it's a full Fire King hand. This is not necessarily a good hand to start with, because you want to pair it up with other things, because if Matteo now finds access to cards like Moulin Glacier or something, he may just get all of those other cards out of the hand. On the other hand, though, we see Matthieu already immediately establishing field presence here. But there is Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, I believe, on the Ponix here,
Yeah, exactly that. Trying to stop getting any more advantage for the Fire Kings is going to be incredibly important. We've already seen the activation of the Minstrel, and Matthieu reacted very, very well here because he knew that he was going to get the full hand knowledge, and you want to make sure you're getting that Kirin out of your hand onto the field in order to prevent more of a presence here, which is exactly what we've seen with the Ponix and the original Garunix as well. So very, very well navigated here, and I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot of back and forth, which is what I really do like to be seeing within these duels.
Yeah, absolutely. But we talked about the fact that the Fire King strategy had a lot of hand interactions to be able to try to stop your opponent. But the problem is that here you don't have a lot. Yeah, of course you have some field presence, but you don't have anything to actually stop the opponent. And you would have loved to have something like, for example, Dominus Impulse, but also access to the Jurek strategy or the Garunix, being able to try to disrupt the opponent, being able to try to remove a body on the field, because here Matteo is going to be able to have access to the extra deck strategies, and in the extra deck you have a lot of things to try to get some monsters back from the graveyard. We have seen the Coelacanth in the graveyard, and of course you want to have it on the field. Usually it is not a very good sign to have it in the hand, but you always have some ways to put it on the field. For example, you have some link to strategies, but also some XYZ, or here the Anemone, which will be able to bring back a monster. Of course, not the Coelacanth, but there are some other monsters that you can bring back from the graveyard.
Yeah, Marinsis. Horrible Marinsis monster. Has been a while since I saw Marinsis actually at a featured match table, but at least the Coral Anemone is still out there rocking it for the water deck, helping the other water strategy here, bringing back Ministrel, and Ministrel can now just send the top 3 cards of the deck to the graveyard. Could we just get a little lucky and maybe hit a Dragoon for that here?
I mean, he wants that, of course, because he wants to get access to the synchro place.
Ooh, heavy infantry could be interesting too, though.
I mean, yeah, you can still go into some synchro 6, but you already have used the effect to just put all the monsters level 7, so I'm not sure it is exactly what you want, but still.
Okay, so we put the Dragoons back into the deck.
It's gonna be enough, though. Because you want to get access to these synchro plays or the XYZ plays, and here you don't have access to those. The fact that you started with not the best starter, of course, not the best normal summon, probably the worst one, and on top of that you had the Coelacanth in hand, Matteo doesn't feel great at the moment, and it might be the escape for Matthieu, to be honest. Even if he only had Engine in the hand, it might be enough.
Yeah, exactly that. I think you've got to be very, very careful with what exactly Matthieu has on the field.
Actually,
we
just set a card. We set a card being totally uninterrupted, and Matthieu is going to be able to draw for turn with already 2 bodies on the field. He has the Kirin, he has the Odi Garunix, he has the Ponix, and already 3 bodies. I think it is gonna be it, to be honest.
This is hilarious that he decided to destroy the Fire King high up to Garunix, because that is now going to also trigger the Ponix that we already knew about, and the Kirin also comes back, or brings back the Olkanix. Okay, we have the infinite impermanence for the Ponix, but we know Matteo just literally has nothing else left. Trying to destroy the Imperm, but we may as well just use it there. And Matthieu, it looks like all of a sudden he is going first.
Yeah.
That Mermail deck, Atlantean Mermail, has so many tools going first. Like, you can either go for the Barrier Statue because the water one is still available to the players. You can go for Mulan Glacier. You can go for so many different things. But none of those were available here for Matteo, apparently, and therefore now we see Matthieu on the play. Matthieu told me a funny story about his last couple of weeks, because he has been playing this deck non-stop essentially since YCS Lille, and he has been winning die rolls like crazy, and now on the first round of the YCS, he loses it, so he's like, oh no, the streak is over of me winning every single die roll in the world. Still, seemingly doesn't matter.
I mean, literally 19 die roll won in a row, which was absolutely amazing. He came to me and he looked so happy when he told me the story. But for now, as you just said, I mean, the Atlantean Mermail strategy is very good going first.
Look at that! Game 1 goes to Matthieu! All those fire monsters in the end bringing the fire to take game number 1 there. And I feel like Matthieu is nodding. He's nodding in approval, but he also may be asking himself, how did that just happen, really?
I think that was very, very well navigated, though, because even though you didn't have any of those hand interactions, being able to get the original Grunix on the field, you knew that straight away your opponent was already under a little bit of pressure, that once that comes back, you're going to be able to reset the field state, and then you already have the guaranteed access to your Ponix. That can then work your way a little bit further forward. So the pressure is already on Matthieu to then try and Matteo to produce his best end field. And as we saw, he wasn't able to kind of create exactly what he wanted, and he was probably expected to see a little bit more in Matthieu's hand to get a bit more knowledge, a bit more advantage. And I feel the one big thing that we haven't seen yet is, apart from sending the miscellaneous Saurus during the last combo, we don't know exactly where Matthieu could take it during the next turn. He's already prepared for going second, as we've just seen. So now it kind of goes back onto Matteo to be able to go, okay, well, I know what I should be starting to expect a little bit now. How do I counteract this and increase my chances going first?
Yeah, absolutely. So now Matteo is going to have to win the second game, of course, because he's back against the wall. And this is a very hard situation, a very tough situation to be in, to be honest. Because, you know, in this matchup, it is very hard going second.
Yes,
because as you just mentioned, yeah, he had access to the Garunix trying to destroy the entire field. But if there is a Barry statue on the field, I mean, this is way worse because you cannot just special summon and it is pretty much over. So it was pretty hard for him. But luckily enough for Matthieu, very, very difficult hand to play for Matteo, and now he has to win the second game. But on the third game, what's gonna happen? You know, I wanna think about the third game because...
Stay calm. We have a second game to play first. Okay.
That's right, but if there is a third game, this is going to be very hard because usually the hand interactions that you play are not real things to stop the opponent. You know, usually you play the Molcharmies.
Yep.
We've seen the Poolia because it's a water monster, and we've also seen stuff like the Favalos or even the Meows in some deck lists. So I don't know which one he's playing, but is it going to be very useful against the Fire King strategy? We are going to find out maybe if there is a game 3, but for now it is going to be the game 2 between fire and water.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, I could definitely see that the duelists are going to be ready to dive straight into this. And taking a look at some of the side decks, I think it's going to be very, very interesting on Matteo's choices. And as you mentioned, being able to go second is going to be a little bit more difficult.
It's going to be hard, yeah.
But there are some cards in his side that I see could very easily come in for the Chummies.
All right. I mean, you mentioned it. Players are ready. We want to see it. So let's go straight into game 2. Step by step, game by game. It's a long tournament, but you have to always take the next game that is ahead of you, and you never can get carried away by how long of a day this is going to be. And let's see whether Matteo has a way to play better this time.
I mean, yeah, it was very difficult during the last game. He didn't have the best of a hand because he just had to normal summon Shadow Squad. Is it going to be any better?
He doesn't seem happy.
Look at that. Yeah, he looks so unhappy. And what is he gonna play? I mean, he takes a lot of time trying to think how to play and trying to think carefully, but it doesn't seem to be a very good hand on his side.
Oh, we're sending a card and passing.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Once again, during the first round of this YCS Bologna, Matteo just setting a card, and Matthieu is going to be able to try to win it all during this game. He's normal summoning the Volcanics, and this is, of course, a very, very good start.
That is the start you need, the start you want. Matthieu, okay. What are we trying to figure out now? Oh, I think Matteo is just taking his time to... Oh yeah, it's all good. Here we are again. But that Volcanics alone kind of carries the whole combo. Like, you don't really need much more than that. So easy peasy maybe for him here right away to get this one locked up. And I mean, that's the way you want to start into a tournament. Just go in, you have prepared for so long, you're ready to just really play those grindy games, especially when you bring Fire King, because that's usually how it goes, that you will have to work for your wins. And then just first round, quick, easy 2-0 in like 20 minutes. I think that's what you really can enjoy then. Just take some rest. Long day ahead, so that's the way to start usually. You like that.
Yeah, exactly that. You kind of dust off the round one jitters and the round one kind of nerves, and then you get straight into it, and especially starting off with that. But also remember, on the other side of that, even if you don't win round one, that is not your tournament over. You still have so many more rounds to go, and you learn from your experiences. That's the most important thing. So you learn what went wrong, how you can adapt it, how you can improve, what you can change, and then you learn, even if you have practiced the deck non-stop at home leading up to a YCS, you still have loads of different interactions. And I can't be, like, being completely honest, I can't imagine that Matteo sat down and went, my round one is going to be Fire King. So that's always going to be something you need to take into account. There is such a range of decks right now in this current format. Everyone brings their own style as well. So the way the player or the duelist kind of navigates the deck as well is always going to be different. So there is always going to be a learning experience that you can take from that. And I think regardless of the outcome of this one, it's going to be very, very interesting to see and kind of stick right into it.
I mean, as you're saying, there is a wide array of decks currently available. Let's, as we're waiting for the players, let's address it. YCS Lille has been a while ago, but also not super long ago. How much did the format change? Because there was no new main set releasing since Lille, but I still feel like the format has evolved quite a bit, and therefore, is it still going to be the man with the mark winning again, as it did in Lille? Is that what we're going to see again, or what are we expecting?
I mean, yeah, we saw that...
personally, yes.
We saw that at Lille, Drake Hotel was not the most played strategy. It was a very, very good strategy indeed, but not the most played. And during all those weeks before this YCS, we saw that Drake Hotel just was way more played. We also saw some Mitsurugi strategy as well, and some Mali strategy.
But came back.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. And now players just play a little bit more answers to those decks, for example, the Lancias and all those cards. But for now, I just heard that our players are ready. So we are going to get back into this game.
There we have them.
Yeah, so we are still in the same situation, unfortunately for Matteo, of course, because we still have a set cards. Players are just waiting to just get back in the game. And as we just mentioned, we are in a very difficult situation here for Matteo because he is going to have to interact with the opponent and try to prevent Matthieu from having any advantage. And this is a real bad sign here because I think that the volcanics will resolve. And when it starts resolving like that, it is not very good because Matthieu is going to have access to the Ponyx right there, being able to special summon it probably.
Yeah, exactly that. I think we're
it's going to be the Kirin.
Going for the Kirin, but once you're activating, once you're going through all of these types of interactions, you start to check off the interactions that your opponent may have, and I think that's really, really important because then it starts to allow you to be a little bit more free with some of your follow-up combos as well.
Oh,
is there something?
There? It is Dominus Impulse.
Very
Interesting
good card.
to see that we decide to set that one because in Mermail, you don't really have any other effects that you want to use that are conflicting with the Dominance Impulse. So making yourself vulnerable to cards like Happy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm there was definitely an interesting decision from Matteo's side there. But maybe he just has another one in hand and was like, okay, I can set one, still have another one in hand there. And there now is the Durac package. So we spoiled you of that. He already made top 64 at YCS with this version of the deck, and he's back with it using the on-field effect now here of Durac Magalo. And Durac Magalo is going to destroy another copy of it and the Ponyx from hand to draw into 2 fresh new cards.
And now you are in a very bad situation, of course, for Matteo. It's getting worse because Matthieu has access to the engine, and he is going to be able to enter battle phase. So you still will have another turn, and that is some good news for Matteo. But still, you weren't able to start during the last turn, so you are just hoping for a very good top deck right now.
Yeah, exactly that. I think what you need to always remember and keep in mind that even though your hand might not look so great once you've drawn it for turn, as long as you navigate correctly, something as simple as a Dominus Impulse may allow you to kind of slow the momentum that your opponent might have, trying to kind of either try and win the duel right there and then, but trying to either come back into it as well. And exactly like you said, Matteo now has another chance to kind of come back at Matthieu and try and push a little bit more onto his field. And we already saw it in his first hand. When you're not playing any cards during turn 1, you then need to kind of reconsider from Matthieu's position that hand might contain a lot of go second cards or more kind of field interrupters than hand interactions themselves.
And you know, the fact that Atlantean Mermail is such a good deck with a lot of engine, you know, and all of a sudden one card can just change everything. It can just change everything. We saw the Poseidra and we drew the Dragoon. So now we are able to have maybe one of the most important combos in the deck, being able to use the Poseidra, and you know, he was starting, so Poseidra wasn't that good, but now he's literally going second, so the Poseidra is being very, very good, being able to just send for cost and being able to try to remove the presence on the field, not destroying it as well, which is very important.
Into the hand. One thing we'll have to consider though, due to Matthieu having that turn, having access to the Durac cards, there is a Durac Astero waiting in the graveyard, ready to destroy all cards on the field. So Matteo will have to find a way to play around that. But there also is another thing to hinder him here further, as Joel and Lockbird came down, and that against Mermail can be so painful.
Absolutely. I mean, the only way to play around is literally the Coelacanth to get it on the field, to special summon it, and then being able to bring all those fishes on the field. Will he be able to do so? Because Matthieu will, of course, not let that happen, and we know that he has access to the Durac strategy, and being able to just remove every single body on the field is a very strong interaction. So yeah, Matteo in a very difficult situation. Will he have what it takes to just win this game anyway?
Okay, that can help. Triple tactic talents. No monsters on the field, no way to draw cards, so surely we're looking into the hand here.
Is it that good, though?
I feel it depends on what Matthieu has in his hand. If you're seeing exactly this, so we can see that there's a Kirin there that is probably the most damaging. Fumalos could also be relatively damaging here as well.
I mean, there's Drone Lockbird, so Fumalos just doesn't do anything.
Yes, correct.
So.
The Ash Blossom is very good against the Coelacanth effect, to be honest.
But I feel like if you're taking out the Kirin, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, I agree. I feel that you could probably play through the Ash Blossom here on this one.
Can you?
I feel you could. I feel that you still have...
hard.
So, but remember as well that if you take away the Kirin, Matthieu is just left with an Ash Blossom that he will probably end up using, Fumalos, which isn't going to do anything, and then a Grunix.
But, I mean, if we get to that point, if it goes back to Matthieu, there was a Ponyx destroyed in the standby phase. So Ponyx will be able to come back if Matthieu's turn is ever coming again. But more importantly now, Matteo sees there is no way to put any monsters onto the field. No defense from Matteo in this turn, besides that one Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. So if we find a way to make 8,000 points of damage work here, through, of course, still the Jurak Astero in the graveyard being able to summon our Jurak Meteor, then this could be the possible way to win. But while I'm saying that, how would you ever do that, really? Because playing through Jurak Meteor is tough. But then additionally to that, having the Jordan Lockbird applying as well, and the Ash Blossom, I think, even though that talent resolved here, we should see Matthieu feeling relatively safe.
I mean, yeah, if it wasn't for the Drone Logbird, I would have said that it was very, very possible, to be honest. But it's going to be such a statement here if Matteo manages to win the entire game. It's going to be very hard, and we can see that he tries to find a solution, tries to keep the bodies on the field. Will he be able to do so? He will be able to perform a Link Summon. Will we see the Anemone once again? Probably.
He's beloved. Oh, no, he's considering whether he wants to maybe rather go for Abyssalacia, exactly.
And it's going to be the Anemone.
It's just going to be the one that it was in game number 1 already. Corral Anemone able to bring back to the zone, it points to a water monster from the graveyard. Which is it going to be this time around?
I mean, you don't have much choices, so it's going to be the Shadow Squad, of course, which is going to be there. And now we are going to perform another Link Summon. We are going to go into probably the Neptavis, I guess.
It is. There's so many Poseidons at this, Mermails at this moment, and this Link Free is one that you don't actually see that often in Mermail, I would say. Usually the ways have been different, but sometimes of course it gives you that safety net of being able to protect your cards from being targeted while it is pointing towards them. And right now I think Matteo is just valuing the attack points. Okay,
ooh, wow.
That is now 5 waters in the graveyard, and I'm not sure whether Matteo was actually realizing that, because that could be huge, just taking out the Ash Blossom from the hand.
Reading it again, of course. But yeah, Moving Glacier is going to be able to hit the field, and now we are going to get rid of 2 cards in Matthieu's hand, and that could be huge, to be honest, because we could get rid of some cards that would allow him to just play again during the next turn. Of course, obviously, there is the Ponyx, which is safe and which is in the graveyard.
But wait, the Kirin is still in hand.
Yeah, Kirin, so we put back the Mulchumi Fulos, so now we get to utilize the Kirin, send in the Garunix, then we lose the Ash Blossom, so we still have field presence. And as you've already mentioned, we have the Jurak Meteor and we have the Ponyx coming back. So the Moving Glacier isn't as game-ending as we may feel, but there is still enough field presence here. So it's really going to come down to when does Matthieu want to kind of work his way into the Jurak Meteor as well.
Attacks over the Kirin. Kirin can now activate its effect. I'm not sure whether Matteo was actually considering that, because we can now just destroy 1 card on the field and bring back one of our monsters from the graveyard as well. And I mean, I actually didn't even see that he put back the Mulchami Fulos, but Matteo must have been in his dreams still to make that decision, because under Roland Lockbird, how on earth would you put back that Mulchami Fulos there out of those 4 cards?
I mean, it is very early in the morning, so...
Yes,
I think exactly
I can confirm from my personal side, but that was
But remember that we are at a YCS first round playing against Matthieu, and
on featured match on stage.
Featured match, it is very, very hard,
100%.
and I cannot even imagine after this first game. Remember, he wasn't even able to play properly his game, and it must be very hard to try to focus. And it happens to forget those little details, and it is those details that make champions. To be honest,
I was already nervous enough playing against Dale yesterday just on the stage, so I can totally relate for sure here to Matteo. But now in the end phase, Matthieu is going to use the effect of Jurak Astero, and we see the alternative artwork of that so cool Jurak Meteor destroying not only the opponent's monster, but also our very own, bringing back the Megalo afterwards as well. And now we destroyed the Ponyx, so Standby Flex Ponyx will come back. So Matthieu, I think, should have a pretty decent time here for this turn. Also Garunix coming back. This is looking great.
Yeah, I mean, exactly that. So because the Fire Monster was destroyed, we're revealing the Ponyx in the hand to get it onto the field without even using your normal summon. This just opens up so many more options for you, as I feel normal summoning is such an important mechanic, or just part of the game, that the more you can hold on to that, the more you can put more pressure onto Matthieu. And it's really going to kind of be coming down for Matteo as well, exactly what he might have to interact with this field. Otherwise, I feel Matthieu could push further forward with this one.
Fire King Sanctuary is going to bring us that beloved field spell that has already been so good back in the day, but it's still a centerpiece of the Fire King strategy. The Fire King Island is going to be used to destroy that Ponix here again, getting us another Fire King, which of course turns out to be the Garunix we haven't seen all match yet. We only saw the other Garunix, but this is the one actually that made the deck so strong and good now. And that's the battle phase.
That's going to be
sealing the deal. Matthieu Ricard is on the way to possibly defend his title here in Bologna as he takes a swift 2-0 in round number 1 here against the Mermail Atlantean deck, going second impressively enough. But that second game there, he almost didn't need to use his Garunix there, which was crazy because that is the centerpiece of the entire deck, but then it made sure to close it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Water versus fire was won by fire, but we still have another game. We have backup feature right there. So right now, I just heard that the players are still shuffling their decks, so they are trying to get into the game right now, and we are going to have a very exciting matchup.
Oh, we do.
I was waiting for that. We had a very good matchup during the main feature, but the second one, I mean, those are some very interesting strategies, and especially one that has been up recently.
Ooh, I think I'll make a hint. I think both decks could very easily and likely include the quick spell, the Fallen, and the Virtuous. There could be...
That is right.
Like, people at home, what could that be? Tell us in chat. But I feel like that card has been a staple now for the one deck, but it has also been included in the other deck, funnily enough. So we will see in a very short moment. But yeah, we have, again, of course, as you know it also already from YCS Lille, a backup feature match for every round. So if we have a quick main featured match, we have the chance to watch another match here, as it will be the case here for this round 1 already. So double the action for you. And besides that, yesterday we have already been working hard to pre-produce already a bunch of content for you. So you'll have all weekend long, all day long, no breaks, all Yu-Gi-Oh! Content for you here, live from Bologna, the beautiful city here in Italy. We've drew it back to now for the 3rd year in a row, right? 2 years ago, we saw Joshua Schmidt winning it here in Bologna with that runic deck that was so strong. And then now, last year, of course, Matthieu Ricard trying to make it happen again here this year again. And then this year, I think this season, it seems like the Italians are just ruling because they have won the European Championship, which was like the ending of the last season essentially, but still like also sort of the start of the new season. Then Lille was won by Diego Ziglia as well as another Italian, and now with a home turf YCS, it is going to be Italians again. I wouldn't be surprised. They look strong at the moment. They look really strong. But in the first round, Italian lost. But let's see. Oh, we got some tragic news. We were hyping you guys up for the backup feature match. Oh,
actually,
there's voices in my head.
But wait, we have more.
The players are ready indeed, and we are going to be able to just jump into that second match of the day.
Yeah, so let's go. I'm super excited for this one.
And look at this game. Yes. We are seeing some action right there. So they are in the game 2. We see that Ilian won the first game with the very interesting Sky Strikers strategy. And in front of that, facing the Sky Strikers, we see the Branded strategy. And those two decks, I think they are very, very interesting in this meta game. Of course, that's not the main decks that we see in this format. You know, the usual Draco Tail, Mitsurugi Yami, but also the Mali strategy. But still, they are very strong. Branded strategy being able to break some field as well as the Sky Striker strategy. It's going to be very interesting to see if, yes, with the Branded strategy, you are able to put on the field a field which is strong enough to just resist all those powerful tools that the Sky Striker have access to.
I mean, that was huge. Brendan High Spirits revealing the Saronir, so we got the Titanic Mat into the graveyard, and now we also have access to the effect of Saronir in the graveyard as we resolved that card fully to also destroy the Saronir in the hand, making sure we get Retribution in the graveyard. Easy peasy with the Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. They also have the Branded Fusion in the graveyard ready. All of that before even resolving Branded Fusion, so I feel like Arvin is quite the Branded expert, and he even is using the new alternative artworks from, of course, the Chronicle stack, the Fallen and the Witches. But that Branded Fusion does the same thing it has always been doing, and it is unstopped and uninterrupted here from Arvin's side.
Yeah, so this is what I absolutely love about the branded strategy, especially with the Sky Striker matchup. So you can assume that in round number 1, Arvin is fully aware that his opponent is on Sky Striker, and I think one very, very important card or section of cards within inside this deck is going to the Bystials. Bystials being able to interact with that Ray in the graveyard is going to be absolutely massive, because one of the biggest advantages that Sky Strikers have is that ability for Ray to constantly keep recurring itself back onto the field, and we're going to be able to back everything up with a Mirror Jade, and then maybe even a little bit more as well.
Totally. Now we are going through Albion into Lubellion. Lubellion discards the Katija, and there is the beloved and also powerful boss monster of the branded strategy. The Mirror Jade is onto the field, and the Albion has just left the field as the Bystial Lubellion came back. Which card is it going to be? Usually, I think we are just going for the branded Lost here, but maybe we're playing some more spies. Maybe there is branded Beast, who knows?
I mean, yeah, some players decided to include this card, but usually this is actually the Branded Loss, one of the most famous cards of the branded strategy. And from now on, we see some very usual combo. We are going to see the Grand Guignol probably from the extra deck. And one interesting thing is going to be, will we use the Sanctifier? Because the Sanctifier is, of course, very good to put some monsters on the opponent's field, but also because it is not being able to get targeted. And it is very, very hard for the Sky Striker strategy to just get rid of it. But now we have another tool in the Sky Striker strategy, which is the new Link 2, which is of course a very, very good card. The 0 being able to destroy cards without targeting. So you know, the deck is a bit better against those cards. But yeah, I'm really curious to see if Arvin is going to just adapt itself to the Sky Striker strategy, or if he's going to perform the usual combo and just put the usual threats like the Mirror Jade multiple times, being able to just get the Quem on the field, and you know, usual brand stuff.
Oh, one thing I definitely like is we have used the Springen's kit here to recover the banished branded trap cards. So we now also have a counter trap established here with the Retribution. So that is massive. And I think we're now heading into the end phase as we are eyeballing our graveyard here. And as per usual, there's like 5 different things we can use here. So the Katija comes back to the hand, easy. And I think there also is the Titanic Clad still in the graveyard there, which we of course want to use here. And that is going to bring a Quem onto the field. Now to this setup is marvelous, but Ilion actually, and that is, some Sky Striker players recently have actually built the deck to go first, which has usually not been the case, as it is such a powerful go second strategy historically, but Ilion is still going the traditional way of playing in a go second way, and that can really pay off here, as he has all those crazy field breaking cards like Raigeki and Harpius Feather Duster in his deck. So it doesn't take much, honestly, to clear up a whole field when you're a Sky Striker player. Let's see whether we found those fitting and needed cards here.
And we can see that he's already thinking of his strategy right now, and that is very important when you're playing Sky Striker. You just build your whole strategy during the opponent's turn, because you have so many little interactions that can lead you to victory or defeat, by the way. And we actually see the branded banishment being activated right away during the draw phase, bringing back the Albion and performing a fusion summon right away. And we are going to see the Light and Darkness Dragon. Such a strong card, of course, against the Sky Striker strategy, being able to negate some effects and a lot of effects, of course.
Oh, for sure it can. Just as the usual, as the original Light and Darkness Dragon, the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord here, which Ilion carefully is reading right now, and I don't know whether he likes what he just read there. He's going to be able to just negate all of those effects continuously over and over and over again. And now the branded Lost also activates to make him search a card as well.
Yep, exactly. I remember Light and Darkness Dragon is mandatory as well, so it will allow you to not only be disruptive, but once it loses all of its attacks and it can no longer negate the effects, it will still activate. So that's the other additional benefit that you get with Branded, is you could activate your own Branded Fusion, and then because it is mandatory for your Light and Darkness Dragon to activate, that will also potentially block any kind of hand interactions that your opponent may have to try and stop your most important card being Branded Fusion.
I just had to read up on Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, but that card does only go after spell and trap card activations. Correct. And therefore it was not just going after our branded Lost, which would have been funny and ironic. Okay, now the Upstart Goblin, that one will be negated immediately by Light and Darkness. Oh, but
we have something.
Wait a second. Hold on, there might be another thing to add to the chain here. And that is Forbidden Droplet. That's the card you want there.
And look at that. Of course, the Forbidden Droplet being used during this format, used a lot. And here it could literally save Ilian, because you will be able to negate a whole lot on Harvin's field, and especially the Light and Darkness Dragon, because the Light and Darkness Dragon only activates one per chain, so now it will not be able to activate it.
Look at that.
He's sending two, and this is very, very important, because we know that there is a Retribution set. So if we did not send a trap card, which is a little bit rare in a Sky Striker strategy, the Retribution could just react and stop the Forbidden Droplet. So being able to send down the different dimensions is very, very important here.
I mean, Branded Retribution can only negate cards that lead to a summon of a monster, so it couldn't stop the Forbidden Droplet. Still, though, it's good, but there is
look at that!
Called by the Grave on the Joel and Lockbird too. But what are those last two cards in hand? They better be good here.
Yeah, absolutely. The Droll and Lockbird being very good against the Sky Striker strategy, and this is something that prevents players to play this deck, to be honest, because how strong it is against it. But being able to have the Forbidden Droplet and the Call by the Grave is so strong. Do we have a starter? Do we have an access to Ray? It would be absolutely amazing.
We need it. We have dealt with the field here. Some things to still consider. Mirror Jade is negated, yes. It can still pay cost, though, to bring monsters into the graveyard. And there is the monster that enables it all. The main deck monster, the star of also nowadays the Chronicles. It's funny because we have the two Chronicles decks here basically playing each other with a Sky Striker deck, and Ray immediately, of course, becomes a Link 1 version of herself. There is the Hayate.
Yeah, going into Hayate is very interesting, and usually we play less Hayate in the Sky Striker strategy now because we don't need it as much, especially considering the fact that we now have access to Zero, which is a direct access to, for example, Engage or whatever card you need. But here we choose to just go through the Hayate. But look at that field. I mean, this is so huge to try to break with Sky Striker cards.
And I mean, on top of that, we are only 19 minutes remaining in the round, and this is game 2, so Ilian better trying to win this game here to make it a swift 2-0. Otherwise, this might be a stretch to win it all, to even finish the match overall. But are they now going to use the effect of Cartesia? What do we have left to fusion summon into here? Cartesia plus that Dragon Lord is going to make another Grand Guignol, interestingly enough. Okay. That one's sending Rinfram. Okay, that's quite the work to get the Rinfram into the graveyard when we could have just...
We're skipping up, we're going into game 3. We're going into game 3.
It actually makes sense because, of course, as I just said before, there were so many monsters, like literally 6 monsters, and for the Sky Striker strategy, it is so hard to just get rid of those monsters, especially considering the fact that we actually use Forbidden Droplet. So we were not able to use something like Widow Anchor to take those monsters as they were already negated. But yeah, it was very interesting to see that he just discarded or used more the different dimension ground, and it was in the graveyard, so he was actually expecting maybe to go first.
That's the thing.
Yeah, he wasn't going first, so maybe he just sided out some cards like Lightning Storms or Feather Duster, which are some very good cards against the Brandy strategy. But now we are going to go into the game 3, and it's going to be very interesting to see if he chooses to go first or if he chooses to go second. As you just mentioned, some Sky Striker players, they decide to just go first nowadays because you have so many more tools, considering the fact that you have access to the Zero getting so much advantage and getting access to some very powerful cards like the different dimension ground, of course. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what decision he's going to take.
And I think also it will be hugely influenced by how much time there's left on the clock, because can you really, in the amount of time that you have remaining, break a full branded field? And then Sky Strikers don't just end the game on that turn through a full branded field, so they will need another turn eventually as well. So maybe just the safer option here is to try to make as best of a field as possible going first, and then try to win the game and the match on turn 3. I think personally I would prefer that. I think that is the way to go here, but it also just really depends on how the side deck maybe is looking for Ilian. So Dale, is there something that would support that decision to maybe go first here more reliably for Ilian?
Yeah, I mean, we already saw in game number 2 that he plays the different dimension ground. I think that is actually really big against the branded strategy, because you shut off all of their Grave Recursion, you shut off their access to Fallen of the Valbaz. It does then force them to go into into a Lubellian in order to recycle that Albaz that has been banished. So it can kind of strifle down a little bit.
Agreed.
It also makes it very difficult for the Bystials to be fully active during the starting turn. And then when you look at some of the other side cards, and I'm not going to be giving them away just yet for Ilian.
Fair, but there is more,
are
you
some
say?
very,
There
very
is
good
more,
cards
okay.
there. Yeah, exactly that.
Fair enough. I mean, we have historically, like, looking at the last time that Sky Strikers were successful, of course, we all remember that top 4 finish at the World Championship from Rosalie there with the Sky Striker deck. And I mean, she also included multiple going first cards that we saw there. For example, I think I remember the Spiritual Water Art Aoi. That one was crazy to see there again. So maybe we're going to have that appearing here once more as that card became more popular with that recently again. But we shall see, and I think players are ready to get going here again. So let's see what the decisions were here. Game 3 of our backup feature match for round 1 gets underway. There we have them. Arvin taking a sip of water, awaiting the words of Ilian, whether he will be starting or whether Ilian wants to go first himself.
I kind of...
Oh, okay, look at the smiles. Who's starting here? Oh, I think Arvin certainly is expecting to go second here. That last card might be the saving grace if he is going first here, but let's see.
I do love, just as a quick look, that both people share, both players actually share a very similar card, as you mentioned previously.
Actually.
That we might be seeing, and this is going to be very, very interesting to see that, that card come into interactions.
So this hand, going first, the first 4 cards would have not enabled him any kind of play. But sometimes all it needs is 1 card. And I can tell you, as I've been playing some Branded myself, 1 Aluber just gets you a pretty decent combo on its
might be the changing factor, to be honest. But for now, Arvin, look at that. Literally deciding to just get rid of a Drone Logbird, and this is a very, very strong statement. So, you know that this card is very good against the deck, so if you see one in the graveyard, you might have another one hidden in the hin.
You would always expect that, but I mean, we kind of had a glimpse at the starting hand of Arvin here, and we saw that there are in fact 2 copies of that, but there was an evenly match, and I was like, surely the evenly match is the one you're going to discard, especially when your Drone Logbird last game was hit with Called by the Grave, so you could just counter that really easily with it. But no, we see Arvin saying, oh, that evenly match may be handy at some point in this match. I don't know when that is going to be, but Arvin keeping it for that very moment.
Yeah, exactly that. I think it's also going to be quite important that if you do decide to go down Lubellian, you have another option you can discard for that one that's going to present the field. But I think it also needs to be very, very reserved as well, because if we are expecting, again, Ilian hasn't interacted with his opponent whatsoever, so you need to keep in the back of the mind that the rest of the hand could all be field disruptors. So when that's kind of being taken into account, you need to make sure that you're holding about some resource, because as you mentioned previously, the Sky Strikers aren't exactly known for completely ending the turn in 1 turn.
That's true.
So you do need to kind of make sure you maintain as much resource as possible should that outcome come across.
All right, end phase, we see Titanic Lad once again special summoning out the Guiding Quem. Quem sends Fallen of Albus to the graveyard, and once more, we set a Branded Retribution to our field through the effect of Albion there too. So, again, that is a very vulnerable field to cards like Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm.
No,
but
was that the first one?
have those?
Did he just draw that for turn?
He did actually, but you need to have a bit of luck to just get rid of this field.
I can't believe he just drew that for turn. That is crazy.
We talked about that. Of course, you have some very powerful card going second, and this is one of
Harpy's
those
Feather
cards.
Duster!
The Harpy's Feather
for
Duster
turn.
being activated. Do we have any answer on the side of Arvin? But of course, we are going to activate our cards. Otherwise, they are just going to be able to get to the graveyard. So this is the first card. We are going to get access to the Rinbrom in the graveyard, and then...
Oh, he's trying to destroy his own Mirror Jade.
He could have destroyed the Harpy's Feather Duster, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you can always bring back the Mirror Jade, of course, with the Guiding Quem.
But the Quem, Quem is now going to revive because the card has left the extra deck. Very, very good heads up on this one. I think we saw that the evenly match was also destroyed by that Harpy's Feather Duster, which I think is actually quite an interesting choice, because choosing to set it does mean at the end of your opponent's battle phase you could use it, depending on how much of a field presence that Ilian would have left at that particular point. But that Harpy's Feather Duster is huge.
I mean, I've got the feeling that you could have saved the Quem effect for maybe later, to be honest. But yeah, maybe Arvin didn't recognize the fact that he could have destroyed the Harpy's Feather Duster. But still, only 1 card used and only 1 Quem on the field.
Oh, Oh no, Mirror Jade comeback for you as a Widow Anchor.
Look at that.
Negates it too. That field was completely taken apart by just one Harpy's Feather Duster. Ilian has made absolutely the correct decision to go second here in this also important game 3 of round 1. And the triple talent! Show me that last card in hand! And it is, but Jordan Lockford no longer in
We're
the
about to
hands.
see it. Engage! Engage!
Oh,
Engage, actually! And of course, there are
spells,
3 cards,
free
3 spells in the graveyard.
Oh.
And Ilian, you can see that he's very happy about that.
Yeah.
Of course, he can be smiling on this one. He has literally the perfect 4 cards combo in his hand, and he's going to be able to try to get back in the game.
I mean, Ilian just living the life out here, right? Being in Italy in the winter, having some good food, now resolving Engage on feature round 1. This is how I would envision my weekend to go.
And to be honest, we didn't go into battle phase yet, and you know that we are able to inflict more than 8,000 damages, so Ilian might be going for this one, to be honest.
Do keep in mind, we still have Rinbrum the Striking Dragon in the
True
graveyard.
that.
We have just used Retribution, and it's very important that we've used Retribution to bring our card back to our hand, even after True Tactic Talents has resolved, because there is a Fallen of Albaz in the graveyard. So this could be a very, very important stumbling block if Ilian does not remember that there is a Fallen of Albaz and a Rinbrum the Striking Dragon in the graveyard.
I mean,
Absolutely.
there is going to be another one, and this is the triple tactics thrust.
What is this hand? Ilian came into this game 3 with all the good cards. We can
Do you
just
go
get
for anything
another
else apart from Engage? Do you go for anything
Please,
else
just
apart
go
from
Engage again.
Another engage, the second one of the turn, and Ilian is going to get some resources once again, because of course he's going to be able to get access to indeed a Sky Striker card. It could be something to try to disrupt the graveyard. Of course, the Shark Cannon being very good in this situation, but on top of that you are going to get access to another card because you are going to be able to draw another card, and this is the strength of the Sky Striker engine, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this next card added is going to be the most important of this duel. I really do, because I feel that the card added, if he chooses the one that we are both expecting, it has to be.
We
It has to
played,
be.
of course,
Has
we
to
played,
be.
of course.
Oh, Ilian.
He's just checking.
Yep, the Rinbrum
Just
does target.
checking.
Yeah, has to check. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Shark
that.
Cannon, and now what can you do if you're Arvin? I mean, this is literally horrible for him. This is horrible for him, because your whole field
There's
now
nothing left.
is gone. It is totally gone, and Ilian has a lot of cards in hand. The multi-roll on top of that, so even if the game doesn't stop at the end of this turn, I mean, he will be able to get so many resources back and get this Widow Anchor back on the field, as well as the Shark Cannon. So many strong disruptions.
And nothing here just yet from Arvin, because he knows whenever he activates that Rinbrum, it will just be answered by that Surge Shark Cannon. So now we can add back Engage to the hand again. I'm getting some flashbacks here to YCS London back in the day. Engage into Engage into Engage. He didn't draw them with the Engage, but still, that is Engage number 3 for this turn.
Maybe now.
Wow.
Yeah, I know we have 7 minutes and 50 seconds, give or take, left on the clock, but I now think it is very, very important that unless Ilian is fully confident he can go for the full OTK this turn, you do need to take that into consideration as well. Arvin, as well, did navigate his field very, very well. I don't feel that there was much more he could have done. So it is just one of these ones where we're seeing 2 duelists go back and forth, head-to-head on this one, and sometimes the heart of the cards is what makes the big difference.
Indeed, and Ilian just smiling. He's loving it right now. He knows that he is just in the winning position right now that he wanted to be in. He made the correct decision. We're now on the battle phase, though. We have searched linkage, so linkage could be our way to end it all here, but we have to be careful.
Is that 2 linkages? Did he draw a linkage of
I
Engage?
think so, because we see the linkage. Is he going to be able to end the game on the spot? Remember, there are 7 minutes left, so if he doesn't end the game right now, you know, there are going to be some effects for Arvin as well.
15 for Hayate.
I think we have to be really, really careful here, because if we eventually go for 0, we will put monsters into our main monster zone, so that would not give us the opportunity anymore to use our Shark Cannon. So if Arvin just waits with his Rinbrum now, for that very moment, it could actually be a way to stop Ilian here. So we shall see whether Ilian is thinking about that, because we did not use the multi-roll. Multi-roll could have been a way to stop that. Just Shark Cannon, no response possibility, but he had it into the battle phase, maybe seeing that the clock is ticking down here. Sending Lamnes Gate now to the graveyard with the Hayate. Ilian, have you thought about that? Have you remembered that there is still Rinbrum ready to do that? Because yes, there is a second copy of Linkage.
Yeah, he is going all in right now. He wants to end the game on the spot, and he's going to special summon this Zero. Very, very good card, of course, for the Sky Striker strategy. We know that this card is very good going first, but also going second, and here it might help Ilian just winning the entire duel.
Okay, we use the effect of Zero.
So
we're using
what is our
Zero.
plan?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, no,
no.
You could have waited. He would have gotten those monsters onto the field and he could have not chained the Sharkin anymore. But Arvin a little too quick there with the activation of the Rindrum. But wait, the Rindrum is still in the graveyard though.
I mean, no, he's gonna take some vacation in
yeah,
the...
okay.
He's gonna get banished, yeah. But for now, we are going to push a little bit more damages, and this is gonna be it because, yeah, we are going to use the raise effect and win the entire game for the Sky Striker strategy. Ilian going 2-1 against the Branded strategy, and what a way to win this duel. I mean, this game was so hard to win because at first when I saw the cards, the 5 first cards, they were not enough to get rid of everything. But all of a sudden, the 6th card, the Harpy's Feather Duster, coming in clutch and being able to destroy all those spell traps was huge for Ilian right there. And we talked about the fact that the Sky Striker wasn't usually able to break the field and then win the game on the spot. We were wrong, because when you have the good amount of engages, linkage, and all those cards, you can just win the game on the spot.
Another 100 years of Sky Striker, please. It always feels good, honestly. I mean, it's my most favorite deck of all time, which is seeing those engages coming down and just like that factor of just drawing an extra card. Like, oh, give me another one. Just like that. It feels just so
casually
cool. It's so cool. In the end, it came down to those 8,000 points of damage that we were able to put up there just before the clock ran out. So that was our backup feature match. But of course, we had our main feature match as well. And on the main feature match, we saw Matthieu just showcasing that he's ready to win another YCS here possibly this weekend. And we do have an analysis, of course, prepared with Matthieu. So why don't we hear it from Alberto and Matthieu in our analysis corner?
Thanks so much, Seb. I'm here with Matthieu. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel coming back to Bologna, you know, 1 year later? How are your emotion, essentially? Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm very happy to be there, and I hope I can go far in the tournament.
So, first of all, we saw that you decided to choose Fire Kings. So, why is that the choice? How do you feel with the deck and entering into the tournament?
I chose Fire Kings because it's the deck I've played the most in the format since the last YCS. So I'm the most comfortable with it, and I'm hoping it will catch people off guard still.
Well, I mean, I really feel like over the last years, one of the decks that has always been super popular was Fire King, as mentioned. And I feel like it's always difficult to play against the deck, especially if you are not familiar with it, right?
Yes, of course. And the drag cards add a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And so here for the first round, you encountered Mermail. And I mean, how was the feeling at the very beginning? You know.
I mean, when I see the normal summon, I'm like, oh, it's Mermail, okay. Then, I mean, it's not a bad matchup, so I'm okay. And it was not a good starter, so...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want to show you...
I thought it was okay. Even though I didn't have any hand traps, I could, like, put a lot of pressure turn 0 by using Kirin.
Exactly, yeah,
so,
because essentially it was quite a quick match, because essentially game 1, he had the Coelicant in hand. So didn't really have a chance to combo off, and I feel like your hand was quite good.
It was good, but no hand traps, no disruptions at all. I don't know if he plays the Link to Abyss Keeper, but if he did play it, he could have summoned it from hand and then like do everything.
Yeah.
So I'm happy he didn't do it.
Yeah, no, because otherwise I really feel like we would have not seen any of this at all.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 monsters on his turn, yes, but then I'm not in a good spot.
No, exactly. And for game 2, essentially, he bricked. So he passed.
Yeah.
And there was a situation in which he had the impulse on the Ponyx. That's exactly what happens. So I wanted to ask you, from this point when you see the impulse, where was the finishing line?
So I had Kirin, Misk and Megalo in hand, and I thought I would use the Misk to get another Megalo and draw 2 by discarding the Ponyx that's already been used, so I can get some value off of it and try and see what I draw, because I have a lot of extenders. Since I have Kirin, I can draw Garonix, I can draw Field Spell, I can draw Island, I can even draw like another Kirin or Arvada that extends my play a lot. So I had a lot of good draws. And worst case, if I don't draw any extender, I still get the double Meteor setup with some follow-up. I drew Fua and Droll, so Fua was dead, but Droll was very good.
And I also wanted to ask you here, in this specific situation, before the Mooling Glacier was summoned, there was a triple tactic talents activating from Matteo, but he shuffled back the Fuvalos. So we were thinking maybe if he would have shuffled the Kirin, it would have been different.
Yeah, if I shuffled the Kirin, I was on top deck mode because I didn't have a way to get back a fire monster and destroy it. I had to keep the Ash in hand to normal summon it and crush it, but it doesn't do anything if I don't draw Garonix, so it was like kind of hard if I don't draw a good card. I think I drew fine though. It was Volcanix if I remember correctly. I drew. I drew Meowth.
Exactly.
It would have been hard.
Yeah, but I mean, this is essentially how you finish up the match, and I mean, I think it was a solid 2-0 victory to enter into the tournament. You know, as a current champion, must not be easy, but. Congratulations, first of all, for first round, and hopefully we will see you again here on stream.
I hope to.
But I don't want to keep you waiting, because I think we have the second round pairing. So thank you so much for being with us. And guys, don't go anywhere, because we will be back soon with the future match for round 2 of YCS Bologna.